G'day, Chris from the Class Help Desk team, and this is another video for class admins looking at creating new workers and user accounts. So we'll start with a little bit of definitional clarification. Workers are one of the two things that you'll see in the menu that I'll show you. Workers are everyone who's created a service of any kind, mainly in Silsys. All the people in the history of your Silsys will be imported in. So there's a lot of historical stuff, but also workers are obviously if you've created new people since that period of time. So workers is kind of everyone, whereas user accounts are a subset of workers. So some of your workers, essentially the people that are current, are those who have currently a login access account. And essentially the login access account hangs off the worker. So you need to create the worker first, and then you create a user account off the worker. Of course, you also have maybe recent workers that no longer are active, and they would be in there still as a user account, but marked inactive, and therefore they can't get access. Permissions are also set off the user accounts, so that's important to know. Okay, so let's have a look. You, of course, should have admin or advanced admin permission, and that's why you can see some of these extra menu items. We need to click on System Settings, and now we can see here clearly workers are here, and then the user accounts are under here. So we'll quickly take a look at the workers. We're sitting here in the demo site, and we've got a big list, which will be typical, especially if you've got lots of historical records that have come in from Silsys. And then when we click on user accounts, these are only the ones with current access. Now, importantly, you can search for these as well. You still also have the search functions from any of the list views in class, so we could just do a quick search and hit demo and just find the appropriate accounts, because maybe this worker has been around for a while, but we're going to create a new user account from them, so you'd want to find them. Remember that you may need to clear this if you're wondering why you sometimes only see one, because that search will stay around until you clear it. Okay, so if we go from scratch, we want to create a worker first and then a user account hang off it. The reason why we may want to do this is, say, because we have a new person that's just joined your center. So the place to go is, of course, by clicking New. Now, there are a lot of options that you can fill out in this worker form. We basically kept things that we thought you might be interested in as centers, but of course, a lot of them you may not use at all. But the essential ones are required here, and essentially that's first name, last name, and email. So let's put something in. So I've just created a test account, Chris Dubrow account, and an email address, which is actually a real email address. It'll go to my Gmail, so I can show you what happens. We'll save that, and now we can see it said that it was successfully saved. Now, importantly, what's changed is we now have a system login, and this is where we can create a user account. Now, if I come back to worker and type in my name, you can have a look at what I've just created. We can click on it, and we have this new create system login. So we now simply need to click this, and it will take us through to the user account side and begin the process of allowing us to set it up. Note that email was compulsory. Also, you want to put in the time zone as well, particularly if you're not the East Coast, Canberra, Melbourne, Sydney, which is the default. So I've clicked on that, and now it has done a few things. It has transferred the name, first name, last name, and the email into here. We need to create a username if that's not already pre-filled for you. Some of you may have centers set up so it does that, but I'll just do something here. This is for the login, and so I've just dropped something in there. But importantly, the final thing before we want to press save is that we need to set the permission, and these are the three out-of-the-box settings that you as a class admin or a advanced admin will be able to see. And if your center has created more roles, they will be listed here as well. So some people, for example, we know are going to have a restricted access volunteer, maybe to only certain services. I'll show you another video on how to manage these roles, but essentially what is important for this person is that we set them a role. And I'm going to give this person general staff access, which is probably the most common one that you'll use. Now, what's happened here is that it's pre-ticked all the specific permissions relating to that access. You could continue to tailor this at any time. You can only take permissions away, however, but that might be useful too. So now all we need to do is we can click save, and it's told us the record has been saved successfully. So what does that mean? It means they've just been sent an email, and now things have changed again. We can now from here, because they're active, we could change their username, and that would send another email to them, or reset a password. So that's useful if someone's called in and said, oh, it all hasn't worked, I want to reset the password. Again, that would send them an email for them to go back and reset the password.